Okay, going online on cause number DC 197104. Counsel and parties make your appearances.
Your Honor, I do not have counsel.
All right, so your name, you need to state your name, ma'am.
My name is Shanna Poteet.
All right, and are you the defendant or the plaintiff?
I am the defendant.
Okay, and Mr. Frick?
Dr. Frick for Rena Banna-Zadie, who is also with me.
Okay. All right, this case was set for trial today, and it was set for trial this morning. We had to move it to this afternoon because the number of cases we had this morning we needed to try. So we'll go ahead and get started. I understand, Ms. Poteet, you're representing yourself in this matter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Frick, why don't we go forward with opening statements?
Your Honor, my name is John Frick, and I'm very happy to be here representing Rena Banna-Zadie in connection with this case. Several years ago, you may remember that there was a case involving a 3-year-old girl in Richardson, Texas, who originally went missing. And her father's explanation was that he had left her outside at 3 a.m. standing by a tree in the alley in an area that he knew coyotes came to. And apparently she disappeared. And this promoted some interest in the community. Through that interest in originally attempting to find young Sharon Matthews, my client met Shanna Poteet. And of course, the ultimate outcome of that situation was Sharon's body was eventually discovered and her father was eventually charged with capital murder. But Miss Poteet and Miss Zadie became a catalyst for something called Sharon's Law. And it was a law that was being proposed to, in Texas at that time, there was no law that a parent couldn't leave a child unattended, regardless of the child's age. So there was because of this case, there was a mutual interest between these ladies in promoting a change in Texas law to make that illegal and to also make it illegal for a parent such as Miss Matthews' mother to not report child abuse. Together, they met together actually while handing out flyers looking for Sharon Matthews, who people believed was alive at that time. And in March of 2018, through this mutual interest, they decided to co-found a nonprofit entity, which is Love and Justice for Humanity, Inc., which is the other defendant in this case. Love and Justice for Humanity, Inc., as a result of this, Miss Zadie, Miss Poteet were interviewed by a number of media sources. They became kind of a catalyst for this Sharon's Law. They attended public meetings. They met state representatives. They were very active throughout 2018. Miss Poteet is the individual who she represented. She had experience with nonprofits, and so she was going to handle all the formation of this entity. She was going to handle submitting documents to the Texas Secretary of State and to the IRS in order to form this nonprofit. The party solicited funds through a GoFundMe page for Love and Justice for Humanity. Donations were made. And at the end of 2018, my client contacted Miss Poteet and said, hey, we need to do some year-end financials here. We need to do some paperwork. Miss Poteet didn't like that. So Miss Poteet sent my client an email that said, I'm removing you as a director of this nonprofit. And she subsequently made an announcement on the Facebook page of the entity that my client was in fact removed as a member of the board of directors. My client questioned that because what she wanted to know was what happened to the money that the GoFundMe account had been raised for. As my client continued to question this, Ms. Poteet began a campaign of media lies and misinformation to defame my client. She falsely asserted that my client claimed she was a private investigator. She falsely asserted that my client claimed she was working for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. She falsely asserted that my client had lied to law enforcement about her credentials. She falsely asserted that my client had preyed upon families that were distraught over the loss of a loved one. And she falsely asserted that my client had been threatening and harassing people for months. And all of these allegations were false. And we believe that all of these allegations were made to distract from the fact that my client was asking questions about, hey, where'd that money go? And we know money was raised because GoFundMe tells you publicly exactly how much money was raised. At that point in time, Ms. Zeta contacted me and I sent a letter to Ms. Poteet wanting to look at the books and records of this nonprofit, particularly the financial records, which are required by law to be maintained and are required by law to be available to any member of the public, not just someone who was a director. And I also sent a message to her saying, look, I can't even tell that you removed her properly because my client never received notice of any hearing where she was going to be removed. Your bylaws say that she's entitled to have an attorney. She wants to do that. And not only that, the Secretary of State records show that she's still a director. So what is going on? Are you lying about that? Or did you just break your own rules and remove her? So that's kind of where we are. This case has been pending for a while. As of this morning, Love and Justice for Humanity, Inc. is still not a 501c3 organization with the IRS. In fact, it's been tax forfeited by the Texas Secretary of State for failing to file its corporate documents. As of yesterday, when I printed out a certificate of fact that's been marked as an exhibit, you'll see my client is still listed as a director of this organization. We know the other director's name at the time of the removal is an individual by the name of Chelsea. Hold on just one second. Let me make sure I get the correct name of this entity, of this person. Chelsea Brown is listed on the articles and bylaws of this organization as the third director, in addition to Ms. Poteet and Ms. Zida. Before the end of 2018, Ms. Brown had moved to Louisiana. We don't have Ms. Brown's current contact information. We don't have Ms. Brown's current phone number. We believe, my client believes very strongly that if she was given an opportunity to appear before the board, which would consist of Ms. Poteet and Ms. Brown and herself, and present her case, that there's no way that Ms. Brown would not have given her a fair hearing and would not have had her removed as a member of the board of directors of this entity. The concern that my client has is the parties, both Ms. Poteet and Ms. Zida, solicited funds with under the guise that this was a 501c3, that people were going to be able to deduct this. And it's not, it's never been. And she's concerned that she may be sued. So we're asking for a couple of things from the court. Number one, we're asking that the court order that Love and Justice for Humanity allow my client to inspect the financial records of that entity, especially the records pertaining to what happened to the money that was raised from the GoFundMe account. What account was it deposited into and how it was used? And the certificate of fact lists an address for that entity, and we want to specify a date and time. We're also asking for a declaratory judgment concerning the removal of my client as a member of the board of directors. One, that she was not legally removed because she was not given notice of the hearing at which that removal was discussed and was not given the opportunity to have an attorney present, which is what the bylaws say. And two, that Ms. Poteet is lied about the removal because even though she put this public information out that she was removed, she was not in fact removed from the Secretary of State records, and to this day is reflected as a director of Love and Justice for Humanity on Texas Secretary of State records. We're also asking for damages for defamation and for the misrepresentation that Ms. Poteet made that this entity was a 501c3, all of which has hurt my client's reputation, and exemplary damages because we believe she did this deliberately. In addition to making statements on her own Facebook page and on Love and Justice for Humanity's Facebook page, Ms. Poteet actually created a new Facebook page called The Truth About Rena Bana, on which she posted additional malicious information about her. Again, all of this is to distract from the fact that Ms. Poteet very likely took the money from the GoFundMe account, put it into her personal bank account, and spent it, and hasn't accounted for any of the use of that money as is required by law. We're also asking for attorney's fees associated with the declaratory judgment case.
Let me make sure I got all this. So you have a cause of action to request the records, a cause of action for declaratory judgment, which has 2 subparts, and a claim for defamation. Is that your 3 causes of action?
Yes, and the express misrepresentation that the entity was a 501c3, but that is kind of tied to the defamation because our only damages for that are injury to my
Would you
client's
assert a
reputation.
4th cause of action or just those 3?
Those 4: the request for records, declaratory judgment, misrepresentation, and defamation.
Negligent or intentional misrepresentation?
Express misrepresentation.
What'd you say?
Express misrepresentation.
Okay. All right, Ms. Poteet, you have an opportunity for an opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am not an attorney. I cannot be as eloquent as Mr. Frick here, but I'm just going to be open and honest with you and tell you the true story, because it's very apparent that Rena Zadie has not even been honest with her attorney. First of all, I would like to make a statement that I was not aware that there was a trial today until this morning when I got an email from Mr. Frick. I believed that we were still trying to work to some sort of mediation. And I had called our mediator, Charles Stokes, this morning to find out what was going on. I asked him if he had talked to Mr. Frick, and he said, yeah, I don't think that they want to mediate. You need to get ready for trial. So I continued to get these emails, which included Rhonda, the court coordinator. I emailed Rhonda and asked her, when is this trial supposed to take place? And then this was at 12:30, 1 hour before the trial started. She sends me a Zoom link. And this is the first I'm hearing about this. I was under the misrepresentation that we were still mediating. And then I'm told that Mr. Frick does not want to mediate. And I was not given any fair notice of today's trial. I have not received any emails from the court. I have not received mail from the court. Like I said, I talked to Rhonda. I called her a little bit ago and informed her that I was not aware of any of this. If I had not emailed her today, I would have known to participate in this Zoom meeting today. I was never given any of this information. So, I mean, I'm going to start there. If you would like me, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now to continue to make an opening statement. I guess I can point out.
So I just want to tell you, Ms. Poteet, we sent you a trial notice back on March 16th of 2020.
No, sir, I did not receive that. I did not receive that.
Let me look that up and let me see what address we sent it to. Because we would have sent it to the address where you filed the answer from. So let me just look that up real quick.
After that was raised, I noticed you sent actually 2 trial notices. One to Miss Poteet at 1616 Mission Ridge Trail, which is the address on her answer. The court also sent a second trial notice to Love and Justice for Humanity, Inc. through its corporate registered agent in Austin, Texas at 9900 Spectrum Drive. So there should be no reason why Ms. Poteet would not have received those notices back on March 16th of 2020. Our records show that we cross-mailed that notice to Ms. Poteet at Mission Trail.
I have not received anything from you, Mr.
March
Frick.
30th. So.
I have not received any mail from you. Today is the first email that I've received from you in I don't know how many months.
I'm not sure what to tell you. I mean, obviously, let me just see, were those the right addresses that were given that he mentioned?
Yes, sir, they are, but I did not receive any mail, and I definitely have not received any emails from any court regarding any Zoom meeting today or even how to log into Zoom. I had to call Rhonda and have her walk me through it over the phone.
Let's see.
And I was also unaware that I was under the impression that we were still trying to mediate. And I didn't even know that until this morning, until I talked to Mr. Stokes.
I will say that I got the Zoom link from Miss Penson yesterday after we announced on Thursday. I presume Miss Poteet would have made her announcement on Thursday as well, as required by law. And
I didn't get any, haven't received any emails from you. And I have not received any. Today was, until you replied to Rhonda today, that's the first time I've ever seen her name on any email.
I haven't sent any emails to Miss Poteet since the discovery request. I can say that for sure. She's not misspeaking there. I did not send her any emails, that's for sure.
Let's see. Okay. All right, well, I apologize, man. We can only go what's on the system. Obviously, if everybody said that the attorney on the other side is saying it, my court reporter, my court coordinator is saying it, that you got notice. The court system says you have notice. I don't know really, you know, this isn't like, I don't know what a good example is, but you can't just say, you know, I didn't get the mail. You knew you were sued. You have a duty to keep up with this. I apologize.
And that is why I have tried to keep touch with Charles Stokes, because I never heard anything from Mr. Frick. So I've been in contact with Charles Stokes periodically within the past year, asking him, have you heard anything? Are we gonna mediate? And until to this morning, I was unaware that we were not mediating anymore. I was under the impression I wanted to mediate. But I was never told that Mr. Frick and Rena did not want to mediate.
Mr. Frick, did you want to mediate or not?
I had a conversation with Mr. Stokes quite some time ago. It must be 6 months or so ago now. And I said, I don't think we can get Ms. Poteet into mediation. She doesn't have an attorney. And at that point in time, she had allowed Love and Justice for Humanity, Inc. to go into tax forfeiture, where it remains to this day and has not been revived. And therefore, it can't defend or do anything in mediation until she revives it as an entity. So I felt like mediation was meaningless. But I'll tell you, you know, that was one conversation with Mr. Stokes that maybe lasted 10 minutes. We haven't had any further conversations, nor would it be appropriate. The appropriate thing to do when you receive a trial notice says on the notice that you have to make announcements in accordance with the local rules. That was Thursday. We made our announcement. I don't know why Ms. Poteet did not, other than the fact that she says she didn't get that notice. It's not the first trial notice that was sent. There were 2 trial notices sent. We had a previous trial setting and it was bumped because of the COVID pandemic. I mean, we were going to go to trial in April.
All right, we need to go forward, I guess, with this, unless there's an agreement for Mr. Frick to go ahead and continue it.
Okay, well, I will just start off by saying that Mr. Frick's opening statement is not accurate at all. I would like to start off by saying how I met Rena Banna. She has perpetuated this falsehood that we met handing out flyers, which is inaccurate, Your Honor. I started a Sharon's page the day she went missing, after I had organized a search group from my area in Carrollton, Texas, of volunteers to go help search for her. That was the only day that I was out there. The next day, actually it was the same day, I came home. This was October 7th. I created this Facebook page to help raise awareness, and it just kind of grew from there. And then a couple weeks later, Rena had actually messaged me on my page. She told me that she was she was certified in criminology. She was a forensic profiler, and that she was going to work in law enforcement. And I thought, well, hey, this is pretty cool. I was the only administrator. I was the creator of this page and the only administrator of this page for quite some time. It wasn't until afterwards that she offered to meet me and buy me lunch. And that is how we met, Your Honor. I never went and handed out flyers for Sharon. That is not how we met at all. And I can provide proof of all that. I did not, like I said, I was not aware today. I do not have all this paperwork in front of me. But that is the first lie that she has told. Mr. Frick is correct in saying that Arena and I, after I originally met her, she took me to lunch with her mother and kids at an Indian place here in Carrollton. We bonded. I felt like she was genuine. I thought she would be a really good asset to have, given these credentials that she claimed to have. And so over the next few months, I made her an administrator of my page because it had grown to like over like 11,000 followers worldwide, and I needed help. And it just kind of grew into, we followed the Sharon's trial. I went to every single day of Sharon's trial, and we advocated for child abuse. And it was through an attorney that Rena had recommended and said that she knew, named Bilal Khalik, which turned out he didn't know her, and at least not on a personal level like she had perceived to be. And he had come up with the idea of, he had brought up that there was no such law in Texas that existed that made it illegal for children to be left home alone. So from then I started researching and digging up the Casey Anthony law, and we thought, it might be helpful to make it a certain age limit. I mean, if you want to learn about Sharon's law, you can go, you'll look it up. I won't waste your time going into all the details of that. So we did develop a friendship of some sort. I trusted her. Over the course of the year, I did have people reach out to me and tell me that I needed to be careful. I even had a conversation with Rena at one point in time saying that if we ever had any volunteers, we needed to do a background check to make sure there were people, obviously no pedophiles or anyone with any kind of felonies or anything like that. And she had asked me, have you done one on me? And I flat out told her, no, I trust you. And that was my first mistake. But so over the course of our relationship, when we were trying to get Sharon's law passed, we met with Richardson Police Department and Chief Spivey. We met with Aaron Price, who was the child crimes prosecutor at the time, Elizabeth Saab, Judge Michael Snipes. We even had a meeting with Representatives Jeff Leach, Linda Coop, and we also had a big meeting in Dallas with DPD, and we were all discussing on what we could do to help get this law passed because everyone felt like it was real important. During each of these meetings that we had, Rena introduced herself to law enforcement, to the child prosecutor, that whenever we went into these meetings and did our introductions, she claimed that, she was certified in criminology, whatever. And then she also claimed that she had been accepted by Irving PD to go work for them and that they gave her a letter of acceptance. And her explanation was the reason why she didn't go work for them at the time was because she ended up having a baby instead. Well, obviously, that's very impressive, and Chief Spivey was impressed, and everyone was impressed by this statement. And I was as well. I thought, well, this is pretty cool, so I thought that she was going to be a great asset. We did. I'm just going on the misrepresentations that she says that I'm lying, which I'm not. And there are many witnesses to say that they heard her say this. She said this in front of attorney Bilal Khalik as well. Now, to move on to the organization, we never collected 1 cent under Love and Justice of Humanity. The GoFundMe Mr. Frick is talking about was a GoFundMe to file for an organization. We raised a little over $1,000. And at the time, we did have this girl named Chelsea on board. And I don't know, I'm not really sure why she's still listed on there because we had another board member, Jenny Kempion, who I had talked to about removing Rena once we found out about her record, her felon record. And she has offered to provide a statement too. I do not have that today.
Who has a felony record, you said?
Rena Zadie.
Oh, it's the plaintiff?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Out of Tarrant County. And that is public information. I have, and it is for fraud. And I have confirmed this with a licensed, Texas licensed private investigator, and also the Texas County Courthouse, which you can call and get this information from. I was not aware of this until later. And I believe that is
I'm
why
going to
she has
object to
filed this
any
lawsuit.
hearsay.
I don't think she's testifying. This is really supposed to be just an overview of the case. This isn't the testimony. So if you have, you think you're kind of, unless you just want to, well, that's not the appropriate way to do it. You're just supposed to be giving a kind of an overview, and then we're going to go into details.
Okay, well, okay, I understand, Your Honor. This is my first time doing this, so, and like I said, I was not prepared, so, and I do not have funds to hire an attorney. But she misrepresented herself, and over the course of the time, I found out that she had lied about several more things. When she did ask me for, but like I said, we did not collect any money under the organization's name. I used that $1,000 to pay for a website to file. And then we also used that money on events that we had for Sharon. And if there was any leftover money at all, it probably would have been less than $50. I have not taken that money, nor do I have those funds to give back. The reason I have let the organization go is because I'm not really sure what to do with it. I mean, as far as opening statements, I guess that's where I'm just going to start off. But Rena has not been honest with her attorney about what has really happened, and has, if anything, she has also slandered me on her page, publicly telling people about the lawsuit, offering to show them the documents, and calling me trash and all sorts of stuff. And she offered that information to people.
Okay, is that it?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor, for now.
Okay. Let's go ahead and we're starting with the plaintiff's case in chief. So we'll let the plaintiff, did either side email exhibits to the court reporter or the court coordinator? Yeah. Mr. Frick, I can't hear you.
Plaintiff did.
Okay. So have you also sent those to Ms. Poteet?
Yes, Your Honor, I sent her them this morning. I believe that is what caused her to reach out to Ms. Pinson. She received the exhibits that I sent, as well as some spellings of some names.
So which exhibits are you offering at this point?
Offering to evidence exhibits 1 through 23.
All right, so Ms. Poteet, Mr. Frick is offering exhibits, plaintiff's exhibits 1 through 23. Do you have any objection to the admission of plaintiff's exhibits 1 through 23?
No, Your Honor, I don't believe so.
Okay. Plaintiff's exhibits 1 through 23 are admitted. All right, let's go ahead and call your first witness.
I'm going to call Rena Zadie.
Hello.
Would you please state your name for the record?
I need to swear in first. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Ma'am, is that a yes?
Yes.
I cannot hear you.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Go ahead.
You might want to speak a little louder for the microphone. State your name for the record, please.
My name is Rena, R-E-E-N-A, Bana, B-A-N-A, Zadie, Z-A-I-D-I.
Did you become a director of a nonprofit called Love and Justice for Humanity in March of 2018?
Yes.
was Shanna Poteet also a director?
Yes.
When did you and Shanna Poteet first meet?
It was a Sunday, a day after Sharon Matthews was reported missing. There was a search that was initiated. So a lot of law enforcement and community members went out for a search in that area. And supposedly Shayna was also there. We probably crossed paths and said hello. Several weeks later, as this case was progressing, there was a Facebook group that I became aware of and reached out to Shayna to remind her about the day of the search and that we had crossed paths and that we had met. From there, we began a advocacy and friendship with the Sharon Matthews case.
Can you remind the court what Sharon Matthews case was about?
Sharon Matthews case became very popular because of the bizarre story. Her her adopted father had stated that he left her outside at 3 a.m. for not drinking milk. And when he came back inside, he said that he was doing laundry. When he went back outside, she was gone. Since then, sparked a big search for her because she was still missing up until several weeks later when they found her. And we were involved with the searches and placing flyers and stuff until then.
How did the Sharon Matthews case lead to the creation of Love and Justice for Humanity?
Our advocacy was very appreciated by many people. I have a lot of friends who are lawyers who had advised that what we were doing was great work, that, Bilal Khalik, who is a friend, who is also from my mosque and a community member, I'm not sure how Shayna is able to provide any evidence that he did not know me.
That's not necessary.
Okay.
Just answer the question. How did it lead to the creation of Love and Justice for Humanity?
It was after we were on this Facebook group and we decided that there was no law. We wanted to form an organization and we came up together with the name that would fit best for Sharon Matthews.
Did a third person also participate in the name, the creation of the name Love and Justice for Humanity?
Yes.
Who is that person?
It was a person by the name of Jay Mohan.
Did Jay Mohan also contribute his skills as far as an IT professional in the creation of a website?
Yes, he created the Love and Justice for Humanity website, which he sent the login passwords and the login information to both Shayna and I, which was later changed by Shayna when she decided to out me from the organization.
Okay. As a director of Love and Justice for Humanity, did you make public appearances and give interviews about child abuse laws in Sharon Matthews' case?
Yes, to several resources.
Did you also advocate for the adoption of Sharon's law?
Yes.
Is Plaintiff's Exhibit Number 1 a true and correct copy of a media report from Fox 4 News in which you are mentioned as a representative of Love and Justice for Humanity?
You need to share screen that so that everyone can see it.
I don't know how to do that, Your Honor.
So
I have it in physical form here and I emailed it to both Ms. Poteet and to the court.
You don't have it. You obviously have an electronic copy.
Yes, but that is on a different system than this.
Okay.
This system, because of how our law firm functions, I can only attend Zoom hearings on a laptop and I cannot access electronic documents from our firm system on that laptop at
All right,
the
so
same time.
I will try to share screen this then. There we go. Okay. Tell me if this is the right document. I'm going to share screen it. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
Exhibit 1 is a true and correct copy of a Fox 4 News media report in which you are mentioned on the second page as a representative of Love and Justice for Humanity, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit 2, which should be further down in the document that you are sharing, Your Honor.
These all listed in one document.
They're all in one document. They're all in order. Exhibit 2 is a list of links to media reports in which you are mentioned as a representative of Love and Justice for Humanity, correct?
Correct.
They also talk about Sharon's case and Sharon's law, correct?
Correct.
Many of them even mention Ms. Poteet, correct?
Correct.
Is that correct, ma'am? I couldn't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Exhibit
can't hear you.
3. Hold on. Sometimes I have to Can you hear us now, Your Honor?
I can hear you. I can't hear her.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Exhibit 3 is an agenda from a meeting you attended on May 17th of 2018, correct?
Yes, correct.
Was that a meeting concerning the proposed Sharon's law?
Yes, it was.
Are you and Ms. Poteet both listed as co-founders of Love and Justice for Humanity?
Yes, we are.
Did State Representative Jeff Leach attend that meeting?
Yes.
Did State Representative Linda Coop attend that meeting?
Yes.
Did a variety of other officials attend that meeting?
Yes.
Was one of those individuals Jim Spivey, the Chief of Police for the Richardson Police Department?
It was, I believe it was, yes, he was there.
Okay.
Him and his associate were there.
Are you familiar with Irving Police Chief Jeff Spivey?
Yes.
Do you know whether they're related?
I believe they are, yes.
How do you know Irving Police Chief Jeff Spivey?
I became in contact with him when I used to attend the Irving Mosque and was an advocate for that center. And there were cases for abused women and sexual assault cases for children. And there were some members who were afraid to reach out to law enforcement. And as an advocate, they felt they could reach out to me to provide and forward certain information to law enforcement. And I would reach out to Chief Spivey in Irving and let him know about certain cases that would come to me. And so he would meet with me and I would turn in the documents and cases over to him so he can look further into it.
In 2016, did you apply for a summer internship with the Irving Police Department?
I did.
Were you accepted?
They did not confirm, but they did forward the information to another officer who said that they would take me, but that it was full.
And did you have a child at that point in time as well?
Yes, I did.
So you did not become an intern with the Irving Police Department in the summer of 2016, correct?
Correct.
Now, Exhibit 4 is a certificate of formation for Love and Justice for Humanity. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Is that a document that was filed by Shanna Poteet with the Texas Secretary of State?
Yes, it was.
Does the second page of that document talk about it being a 501c3 organization?
Yes, it does.
And did Shanna Poteet tell you that she would handle the formation, the documents necessary for the formation of this entity as a legal entity?
Yes, she would.
Did Shanna Poteet tell you that she had experience with another nonprofit before Love and Justice for Humanity?
Yes, she did.
Did she say that she was filing paperwork for 501c3 status with the Internal Revenue Service?
Yes, she did.
As part of your work as a representative of Love and Justice for Humanity, did you solicit funds for this cause?
Yes, we did.
Did Shanna Poteet do the same?
Yes, she did.
Did you have a GoFundMe account into which those monies were deposited?
Yes, we did.
Is exhibit number 5 a printout from the GoFundMe account for Love and Justice for Humanity showing that 1,000?
Is this what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay.
$1,051 was raised.
Correct.
Okay. So you know that $1,051 was raised. Did you ever have any access to any bank account in Love and Justice for Humanity's name?
I did not.
Do you know what happened to the money that was raised via this GoFundMe account?
I do not know what happened to that money.
Was Shanna the one who set up that GoFundMe account?
Yes, she was.
As 2018 came to an end, did you contact Shanna Poteet about filing year-end financial information?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you text her?
I did.
Did you text her on New Year's Eve?
I did.
How did you know that you had to do that?
My husband had asked me what we were planning on doing since it was the end of the year, that he was talking to his CPA and asked if we wanted to use his CPA to file for our organization.
Did you tell Shanna that you had a CPA who could do this for you?
Yes, I did.
Did you also tell her she could pick another CPA to prepare this if she wanted to?
I did.
How did she react when you sent this information to her?
The very next day, I was blocked from all access from Love and Justice from Humanity. She blocked me on WhatsApp, regular calls, Facebook, access from the website, access to the Facebook page, anything related to Love and Justice for Humanity, I was removed and blocked from.
Okay. Exhibit 6 is a statement that was posted on the Love and Justice for Sharon Matthews website, correct?
Correct.
Is that a website that Shanna Poteet was managing at the time?
Yes.
And you knew that because you posted things on that website at one point in time, correct?
Correct.
Does that statement purport to say that Rena Bana is no longer affiliated with Love and Justice for Humanity?
Correct.
And it's signed by Shanna Poteet as president, correct?
Yes.
Now, was Shanna Poteet the president of Love and Justice for Humanity?
I'm not sure of the legalities of it, but it was discussed, yes. And we both kind of decided we both were the president of the organization because we were both equally parts of it.
Prior to receiving her email and seeing this statement, did you receive any notice that the Board of Love and Justice for Humanities was considering removing you for any reason?
No, I did not.
In fact, during the 9 months from March of 2018 until January of 2019, did you ever receive a notice for a meeting, a formal meeting of the Board of Directors of Love and Justice for Humanity?
I did not.
Did you ever receive a formal notice for any meeting of the members of Love and Justice for Humanity?
I did not.
Did you ever attend any formal meetings of these?
I did not.
Now, from time to time, you and Shanna would get together and talk about things, right?
Right.
But you never had any formal meetings at all, correct?
No, correct.
Plaintiff's Exhibit number 7 is the Articles of Incorporation and Bylaws for Love and Justice for Humanity, correct?
Correct.
You received these from Shanna Poteet, correct?
Correct.
You did not prepare them, correct? Article 1 says that, Article 2 of Plaintiff's Exhibit 7 indicates that it's organized exclusively for charity and educational purposes under Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code, correct?
Correct.
And that's something that Shanna told you, correct?
Correct.
And that the purpose was to promote better understanding of child laws and abuse in a peaceful manner, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's what you did, correct? Right. And on the 4th page of that, just above Article 8, is a paragraph about removing a director for sufficient cause, correct?
Yes.
And it says that the director may be represented by counsel upon any removal hearing, correct?
Yes, it does.
Did you ever receive any notice of a removal hearing?
I did not.
If you had received notice of a removal hearing, would you have contacted an attorney like me so you could tell your side of the story?
I most definitely would have.
And the last page of deposition of Plaintiff's Exhibit number 7 lists the 3 individuals who are members of the Board of Directors at that time, correct?
Yes, correct.
Shanna Poteet, you, and Chelsea Brown, correct?
Yes.
At the time that the organization was formed, did Chelsea live in Garland?
Yes, she did.
Did you always have a good relationship with Chelsea when she was here?
I did, yes.
During 2018, did she move to Louisiana?
Yes, she did.
Have you had any contact with her since she moved to Louisiana?
I did not know.
Do you even know where she lives?
I do not know.
Do you believe that Chelsea Brown would have been fair in considering any explanation for any of the charges Ms. Poteet made against you if there had ever been a removal hearing at which all 3 of you were present?
Yes, I believe so.
Plaintiff's Exhibit number 8 is a letter sent to Shanna Poteet by LegalZoom, correct?
Correct.
And in that letter, it reminds Ms. Poteet that just filing articles of incorporation is not enough to confer 501c3 status, correct?
Correct.
And it reminds her that she has 27 months to file that application with the Internal Revenue Service, correct?
Yes, sir.
Plaintiff's Exhibit number 9 is the letter from the Office of the Secretary of State, which is enclosed, is mentioned as being enclosed in Deposition Exhibit number 8. And the letter from the Office of the Secretary of State also tells Ms. Poteet you have to file a separate application for tax exempt status, correct?
Correct.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 10 is a notice from the Internal Revenue Service assigning an employer identification number, correct?
Yes,
Now, the address on that letter you recognize, correct?
I do. Yes.
What is that address?
It is my husband's office.
Your husband's office address?
Yes.
That letter from the Internal Revenue Service also says that you have to file an application for tax exempt status. It's not automatic, correct?
Correct.
And this employer identification number doesn't do that, correct?
Correct.
Did you attempt to communicate with Shanna Poteet again in 2019 saying, hey, you need to make this right. You need to file the financial documents, show what we did with the money?
I even called her along with sending her messages, which I'm not sure that she had received because she had already blocked me on multiple resources. But I called her, cried, left her voicemails, asked her to speak with me to resolve whatever misunderstanding that she was under, and to resolve this as peacefully as possible with no response from Ms. Poteet.
Did Ms. Poteet then begin a campaign of making posts on Facebook pages?
Yes, she did.
Did she falsely assert that you have held yourself out as a private investigator?
Yes, she did.
Have you ever held yourself out as a private investigator?
I have not.
Did you sign up to take courses in private investigation with Penn Foster College?
Yes, I did.
At the time that this lawsuit was pending, were you still attending those courses?
Yes, I was.
Since this lawsuit has been filed, did you actually complete the course that Penn Foster College offers in the field of private investigation?
Yes, I did.
Did Ms. Poteet falsely assert that you'd held yourself out as working for the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
Yes, she did.
Have you ever worked for the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
I have never.
Have you ever held yourself out as working for the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
I have never.
Ms. Poteet also falsely asserted that you lied about your credentials to law enforcement. Have you helped law enforcement officials in the past?
Yes, I have.
Do you still help them today?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever lied to anybody in law enforcement about your credentials?
I have not.
Have you in fact provided some of the certificates for some of the courses that you have taken to law enforcement officials?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Poteet also asserted that you had been falsely preying on families distraught over missing loved ones and using their grief to your advantage. Have you ever, is that true?
I have no idea what she's referring to, and no, that is never true. I've never done anything like that.
She also falsely asserted that you were threatening and harassing people for months.
I have never done anything of what she's accusing me of.
Have people in your community come forward to you to tell you about these allegations that Ms. Poteet has made?
Yes, many.
How has it affected your reputation?
So many people in the community have begun to look at me with a shadow over my head. They question me. Often they've told me this doesn't look good, what she's saying. I've been blocked from my church groups, and my children feel the effects of that.
Has an individual by the name of Liz Castaneda told you that Ms. Poteet has made these false allegations to her?
Yes.
Did she come forward to you and challenge you about these things?
Yes, she did.
Did you have to explain that they were false and explain to her what the truth was?
I did not have to explain to her because she said she was also a victim, because Liz is a part of Shayna's community, and she provided information and other victims who were victimized by Ms. Poteet.
What about an individual by the name of Narisa Khan?
Yes,
Did Miss Khan come forward and say, Shanna's saying these things about you? What's going on?
yes, she did.
What about I'm going to mispronounce this name, Preeti Javendran?
Yes, she did.
And again, she said that Miss Poteet has been posting these things about you on her Facebook page and sending text messages to some of these individuals.
Correct. She sent messages to everyone on my personal page. She added herself in groups from my church groups and messaged them. She would message anybody and everybody. She even called my husband and harassed him and told him that I was a liar and that.
But was one of the individuals that she contacted a person by the name of Omar Siddiqui?
Yes.
Did Mr. Siddiqui even repost some of the things Shanna had told him on your church group's website?
Yes, he did.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need some spellings of these names. There's no way I'll be able to look them up.
Madam Court Reporter, I sent an email with all of the spellings to Miss Pinson, so you'll be able to find them.
Okay, thank you.
So why do you believe she's doing this?
I had no idea that Shayna felt anything negative about me until December 31st, when I messaged her to ask her about the finances. And from that very moment on, she has been hateful. She has been negative. She has been slandering me publicly and privately to people that I know. And I believe that she's doing this to divert the attention from what I had originally contacted her about. Was I wanted to involve a CPA to do all the paperwork properly and find out about the finances, because she had all the money in her personal account.
Did you contact me in early 2019?
Yes, I did.
After you contacted me, did we together search the Internal Revenue Service's website to determine whether or not Love and Justice for Humanity had in fact been made a 501c3 organization?
Yes, we did.
And what did that reveal?
There was no such thing.
Did you hire me to send the demand letter that is marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit number 11 to Ms. Poteet?
Yes, I did.
One of the things we asked for was we wanted to see the books and records, particularly the financial records, correct?
Correct.
Are you concerned about being a director of a nonprofit that has raised money from the public?
Yes, I am.
And are you concerned that you don't know what Shanna Poteet did with that money?
Yes, I am.
Are you concerned about being a director of a nonprofit that's held itself out as a 501c3 when in fact it's not?
Yes, I am.
Did you solicit money from your family and relatives and members of your community?
Yes, I did.
Are you concerned that some of the people who donated money and deducted it as a charitable contribution might receive IRS notices in the future and look to sue you?
Yes.
So we sent Plaintiff's Exhibit number 11 asking for those records so we could determine what happened to the money, correct?
Correct.
And we also complained about the your removal as a member as a director, correct?
Correct.
And we asked that if we removed, we want to participate. And we also pointed out that the Secretary of State records did not show such a removal and asked Ms. Poteet if she was lying about that, correct?
Correct.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 12 is an official certificate of fact from the Office of the Secretary of State dated August 3rd of 2020, correct?
Correct.
As of August 3rd of 2020, you are still listed as a director of Love and Justice for Humanity, correct?
Yes.
There's another individual listed in addition to you and Shayna, and this person's name is Jenny Kempen. Do you know who that is?
I have never met her. Neither has Shayna. And she was just another person on the group who showed interest in Sharon Matthews and the organization. And I believe Shayna added her.
Do you know where Jenny Kempen lives?
I believe she lives in Chicago.
After you received that, saw that press release, did you reach out to Jenny Kempen?
I did.
Did Miss Kempen tell you that she had not attended any meeting?
Yes, she did.
Did she tell you that she was just informed by Shanna that Shanna had removed you?
Yes.
Do you know why do you know how it came about that Jenny Kempen is sometimes listed as a director and other times Chelsea Brown is listed as a director?
I have no idea how that was done because Shayna was responsible for doing all the paperwork, so I never had any access to it.
Plaintiff's exhibit number 13 is another certificate from the Secretary of State showing that Love and Justice for Humanity has had its charter forfeited because the organization has failed to file the appropriate documents that it's required to file, correct?
Correct.
Are you concerned about that as well?
Yes, I am.
Because that might subject you to some liability as well, correct?
Yes, correct.
As the process of this case went about, we served some discovery requests upon Miss Poteet, correct?
Correct.
One of the things we asked for, and her answers are Plaintiff's Exhibit 14, correct?
Correct.
She didn't prepare formal answers. She just sent it back by an email, correct?
Correct.
In request number 8, we asked her to produce any statements for any bank accounts with any financial institutions into which funds solicited by her on behalf of Love and Justice for Humanity were deposited, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And she said there's none in Love and Justice for Humanity's name, and she's not going to give you her personal or family accounts because it's an invasion of her privacy.
Your Honor, that money, we were not an organization when that money was collected. I have no problem providing copies of where that money went to prove where that money went. But I am not obligated to give her there was never any bank account opened, Love and Justice for Humanity, because we never collected any money as an organization.
That's not a proper objection.
Ms. Poteet, you'll get a chance to cross-examine her, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in fact, in request number 9, we asked for any statements with any accounts into which the GoFundMe funds were deposited, correct?
Correct.
And again, that's the GoFundMe that was using the words Love and Justice for Humanity, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, can I object here?
Sure.
Rena Banna also created her own GoFundMe account using Love and Justice for Humanity, where she collected money without asking anyone from our team at the time, and she deleted that, and none of that money was ever seen either. I have no idea where that money went, so I'm not exactly sure why they are continuing to go after the GoFundMe when we were not an organization at that time.
That's not a proper objection.
Sustained. I'm sorry, you're right. The objection is overruled.
Ms. Banna, did you in fact create a separate GoFundMe account?
I did, yes.
Okay. What happened with those funds?
The one donation that came in was from Jeannie and from Jay Mohan, and that money was transferred back to them, and that account was closed.
Because there was already another account that had been set up.
Correct.
And that's the account that we want to know what happened to the $1,000+ that disappeared that was subject to Ms. Poteet's control, correct?
Correct.
We also asked in our request for production about any notices of meetings, correct?
Correct.
And Ms. Poteet admitted that there were never any board meetings, correct?
Correct.
And we asked for minutes of those board meetings. And again, she admitted there were never any minutes of any board meetings.
Correct.
So as you sit here today, you're not even sure whether there was ever a board meeting at which you were removed from Love and Justice for Humanity, correct?
Correct.
Requests 25 through 29 asked Ms. Poteet to produce any written documents in which you purport to hold yourself out as a private investigator or any of these other defamatory statements that she claims you made, correct?
Correct.
And we asked for not only documents, but communications, and that would include emails, text messages, etc., correct?
Correct.
And she admits that no such documents exist, correct?
Correct.
And she hasn't, and in fact, other than what we've produced, other than what have been marked as an exhibit today, Ms. Poteet has not produced a single document in response to your request for documents made under the lawful orders of this court, correct?
Correct.
Now, exhibits 15 and 16 are documents that we were able to find on the Texas Secretary of State website, correct?
Correct.
And therefore a nonprofit corporation called Underground Hip Hop Academy, correct?
Correct.
And Shanna Poteet is listed as the individual who formed that, correct?
Correct.
And in Plaintiff's Exhibit 16, just like what happened with Love and Justice for Humanity, the Underground Hip Hop Academy was also forfeited because it didn't file the documents that it was supposed to file with the Secretary of State either, correct?
Correct.
Did Ms. Poteet represent that she had other nonprofit organizations in addition to Underground Hip Hop Academy?
Yes, she did.
Can you remember any of the names of those organizations?
She had mentioned that she was the founder of Gray Haven organization, which she had formed.
Have we found any documents pertaining to an organization called Gray Haven?
No, we have not.
Now, after this lawsuit was filed, and after we complained about the defamatory statements, did Ms. Poteet create yet another Facebook website called The Truth About Rena Baina?
Yes, she did.
And as recently as, and Plaintiff's Exhibit number 17 is the Google search, the second item of which shows the Facebook page for The Truth About Rena Baina, correct?
Correct.
And it mentions her lies claiming to be a PI and working with law enforcement, correct?
Correct.
Those are things that Shana had said on her other pages as well, correct?
Correct.
Now, since May of 2020, that page has been shut down, correct? Or at least it's not accessible by us anymore.
Correct.
Is Plaintiff's Exhibit number 18 another post that Ms. Poteet made after you had challenged her, correct?
Correct.
And she's this person that she doesn't mention you by name in this, correct?
Correct.
Do you believe from the content, from the context in which this was posted, that this post means you?
Yes, and I also contacted, as she mentioned on that post, that Irving Police Department that there was a complaint. So I contacted them, and the detectives became involved. The chief became involved and said that there was no such issues and that I am not under investigation. But yes, the detective did admit that Ms. Poteet did call him and said that it just seemed like she wanted to have a cat fight.
But there's no law enforcement investigation.
None.
And Omar Siddiqui is actually mentioned as one of the individuals who viewed this post, correct?
Correct.
And he's one of the individuals who's taking what Ms. Poteet says and disseminating it into your community, correct?
Correct.
Now, exhibits 19, 20, 21, and 22 are all verifications of some of the training that you've undergone, correct?
Correct.
Did you complete a course of study with the International Open Academy in Criminology and Profiling?
Yes, I did.
And that's reflected in Plaintiff's Exhibit 19, correct?
Yes, it is.
It's also reflected in Plaintiff's Exhibit number 20, your certificate for completing the Criminology and Profiling course, correct?
Correct.
Now, you've mentioned completing these courses, correct?
Correct.
And you've even provided these certificates to law enforcement officials, correct?
Correct.
Plaintiff's Exhibit number 21 is your certificate for completing your forensic science course, correct?
Correct.
And you provided this certificate to law enforcement officials, correct?
Correct.
And you did complete that course of study with the International Open Academy, correct?
Correct.
Plaintiff's Exhibit number 22 is your certificate of completion for a course in human trafficking, correct?
Correct.
Now, that's not through that organization. Who performed that?
This was held by the Homeland Security and FBI, and it was an organization called One Safe Place. They held this this training with all of law enforcement and advocates who they had noticed. So you had to be invited specifically, and we were invited to attend this training.
All right. And you did attend and complete that training, correct?
Correct.
Now, it is true that back in 2003, when you were 18 years of age, you pled guilty to a charge of credit card fraud, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Explain to the court whose credit card it was.
At that time, it was my boyfriend, Jayesh Rana. It was his debit card that I had in my possession. It was never used. It was that I had it in my possession. At the time where I was at the location, it was a computer shop. I went to go purchase a computer for my brother, my whole family was in town. It was his graduation. And me and my aunt and some of the friends had collected money to buy him a computer. My boyfriend at the time told me if I needed extra funds, I can use his debit card, although that card was never used. When the person at the shop thought that something fishy was going on because we kept going in circles around the computer, called the police, and everyone left, and I wanted to wait because I did not understand why he was treating us unfairly. So I waited there for law enforcement to come so I can address the issue and the misunderstanding. When law enforcement came, they looked at my purse. I allowed it because I didn't think anything was wrong. They pulled out the card and my aunt's ID, and who was with me at the time, and I had a purse. And they said I was under arrest for having false documents in my possession that were not mine.
Were you detained?
Yes, I was.
How long were you in custody
That day, or
in total?
I was from that day in 2003 until February of 2005, I believe.
Okay. Did they tell you that they would set you free originally if you just pled guilty?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And that's what you did, correct?
And I would like to add that when all of this started, I reached out to the police department to get a clearance letter. And I have obtained a letter from back in 2003. This was after I had already pled guilty, that the detective himself wrote a statement that I had not intended to use that card, and that's what he found in his investigation, that the only thing I was guilty of was having in possession of those identities.
And plaintiff's exhibit number 23 is a statement that your boyfriend wrote, correct? Back in 2003.
Back in 2003, yes.
And he said, yes, you had permission to have that card, and you had permission to even use it for that purpose, correct?
Correct.
Do you believe that if you had been able to present this evidence at any kind of formal hearing to the other members of the Board of Love and Justice for Humanity, that they would have given you a fair hearing?
Yes, I believe so.
And do you believe that they would have voted you out of Love and Justice for Humanity based upon this criminal charge that relates to something that occurred 17 years ago when you were 18?
Yes, I do.
You have to answer out loud so the court.
Yes, I believe so.
Is that why you want basically your day with the board, with Chelsea or Jenny, so that you can explain to them what the source of this criminal violation is?
Yes.
So as you're sitting here today, are you asking the court to order Love and Justice for Humanity to make available to you its records, books, and annual reports of financial activity, and in particular, where the money raised via the GoFundMe was deposited and how it was used?
Yes, I am.
And the certificate of fact that the Secretary of State has yesterday lists an address of 8951 Cypress Waters, Suite 160, Irving, Texas, 75063, correct?
Correct.
Would that be a convenient place for you to review those records?
That office is no longer available.
That office is no longer available. Would you consent to review them by email if they were to be sent to you?
Yes.
You'd ask the court to specify a date and time and order Love and Justice for Humanity to provide those documents to you, correct?
Correct.
And it was necessary to come here to this trial because we asked for those documents in discovery, but Ms. Petit wouldn't produce them, correct?
Correct.
Are you also asking for a declaratory judgment from this court that you were wrongfully removed from Love and Justice for Humanity's board without being given notice or the opportunity to have an attorney represent you at the removal hearing?
Yes.
And are you asking that the court also make a declaratory judgment that you were not actually removed from your position as a director of Love and Justice for Humanity, and that if any such removal is sought, that you'd be entitled to a notice of any hearing and to be represented by counsel at that hearing.
Correct.
Now, as a result of making representations about the 501c3 status of the Internal Revenue Code, of Love and Justice for Humanity, are you afraid that that your reputation has been injured with the people from whom you solicited funds?
Yes.
Now, you've not deducted any money yourself on any tax return that you donated to Love and Justice for Humanity, correct?
I have not.
But you know people who have, correct?
Yes.
Would you have made that representation if Shanna Poteet had told you that in fact it wasn't a 501c3?
I would have been more careful.
If you had been told that it was not a 501c3, would you have told the people from whom you solicited funds that it was not tax deductible?
I would not have said that.
Okay. As a result of the false statements that Shanna Poteet has said about you, do you believe that your reputation has been injured?
Severely.
In an ideal world, what would you want to happen?
I would like for Shayna to, I mean, my reputation has been ruined. There's nothing that you can do to bring that back. But I would like for her to pay for the damage, so that way it would deter her from doing this again and over again. And when she's caught, stops her from using fake accounts and creating other pages.
What sum of money do you think would be sufficient to repair, to compensate you for the injury to your reputation?
It's my reputation. I can't, there's no price for it, for what she's done, to how she's hurt my children and my neighborhood where I live. But
what sum of money do you think would be sufficient to compensate you in a way that would deter Ms. Poteet from doing this again to you or to other people?
I never really thought of a number. This was never about the money, but it seems like nothing else would stop her. $5,000 to $10,000.
Are you asking the court to impose exemplary damages because her express misrepresentation about the 501c3 status and her false statements of fact about you were obviously done with knowledge that they were false and were done intentionally and deliberately to hurt you?
Yes.
And do you believe they were done intentionally and deliberately to hurt you because you were questioning her about what happened with the money?
Yes.
Was it necessary for you to hire me to represent you in this case?
Yes, it was.
Did you agree to pay me an hourly fee of $300 an hour?
Yes, I did.
And did you agree to pay my paralegal, Amanda Bratcher, her hourly fee of $60 an hour?
Yes, I did.
And our paralegal, Chandra Rodriguez, $120 an hour?
Yes, I did.
I will pass the witness.
Okay, Ms. Poteet, you have an opportunity to cross-examination.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. First of all, I'd like to ask for a request of continuance. I have 40% left on my iPad, and I cannot charge my iPad. My charger will not sustain my iPad being charged when it's plugged in, and I do not have I very much look forward to crossing the witness, but I do not believe that I have enough power on my iPad to do that at this time.
You said you have 40%. Why don't you just keep going until we get there? So you can cross-examine her at this point.
Okay, yes, sir. Rena, please tell the court again on how we met, and please remember that you are under oath.
Cross paths a day after sharing that.
I
can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We crossed paths on October 8th, I believe it was a Sunday, 2017. And there was a lot of people there for the search group. Shayna was there. She was there with a tank top, shorts, and a hat. At that point, we did not officially get acquainted, but we did cross paths on that day, which is how we became familiar and acquainted again, a couple of weeks later on the Facebook group when she created the Facebook group.
Okay. Just to refresh, it's not a Facebook group, it's a Facebook page. And we've never had we never had that discussion. We never handed out flyers together.
Ms. Poteet, you have to ask her questions. You're not arguing with her.
Okay. Did you not message me a couple of weeks when you were planning to help, I believe it was Omer, with going out? That is the first time that I recall ever speaking to you. As a matter of fact, before that, I had no idea who you were. And we never handed out flyers together. Is that statement true or false?
That statement is true. We never handed out flyers together. We handed them out separately. Everyone was given flyers and they went on their own way. The reason how we connected was because the flyers were being removed. And when I started to look for a similar situation on Facebook, I ran across this Facebook page that Ms. Shayna Poteet was an admin of, and messaged them about similar situations that I had personally witnessed, because I knew that a person named Shayna was there at that time when we all first went out for the search.
Okay. Your Honor, that statement is not true. I never went and passed out flyers.
Okay, Ms. Poteet, you're asking questions during your case in chief. You'll be able to allow to provide sworn testimony, okay? You just ask her questions. If you want to, you don't have to ask her questions, but you have the right to ask her questions.
Okay. During our meetings with law enforcement, did you or did you not tell Chief Spivey, who by the way is not related to Chief Spivey in Richardson, did you or did you not tell him that you were accepted to work for Irving PD and that they told you that you could come work with them, but that you decided to have a baby instead?
I did not tell him I was accepted. I said that I contacted the Irving Police Department and wanted to sign up for an internship, which I have the email of with a response from the police department. I'm clearly dealing with law enforcement officers and the chief of any law enforcement. So if I was sitting there and saying that to a law enforcement officer, especially a chief, more than likely they would look into my background and immediately see that I was not being truthful. Yet, despite your claims, they continued to be on social media, on the news, and work with me.
Ma'am, don't be argumentative. Just answer her questions. If she asks a yes or no question, just answer that.
Yeah, I'm going to admonish you. You need to just answer the questions. I agree with your attorney. You don't need to volunteer different. You both seem to want to argue with each other. That's not the format here. She's asking you questions. You need to respond unless your attorney instructs you otherwise, or I do. Do you have anything else, Ms. Poteet?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Rena, did you or did you not message me? I believe it was, and I don't have the exact text messages in front of me, knowing full well, because I had told you that we had needed to raise extra funds because it cost extra money to file for a 501c. In fact, it cost $800, which we did not have. At that time, you suggested to meet with your very good friend, Salman from Washington, D.C., who came in and we all went out for dinner. Did that happen? And this was right.
Did you say multifarious?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Poteet, what he's saying there is you're asking a whole bunch of things all at once, as instead of breaking it down.
Okay, my point of the question is to contradict her claims that she knew that we were that we were not a 501c when she in fact did. And I do have proof of that. In fact, we had a meeting where she claimed that her friend Salman had offered to pay for our 501c. And that
Ms.
I believe
Poteet,
was,
Ms. Poteet, again, you have to ask questions.
that's what I was
You're
asking. That's
you-
what I was asking her, if that or did not happen, because she's leaving that part out. She's saying that she did not, that she had no idea that we were a 501c, but she did know that we were not a 501c.
Okay. Ma'am, did you know that you were not a 501c3 according to Ms. Poteet?
I did not know.
Did you say no?
No.
Mr. Frick, if we don't get her audio worked out, we're going to have to delay this trial. You need to do something about her audio. It's almost impossible to hear.
She really needs to just speak up louder. It's the microphone seems to be working. I think it's just a matter of she's very soft-spoken.
Can you hear
Well,
me better if I lean into the microphone?
That does sound a lot better, but we can't keep doing this. It's not fair to Ms. Poteet or to the process. So you've got to speak
Apologize,
up so we can all hear you, because we have to
Yes,
have
sir.
a record. Am I right,
sir.
Tony?
Yes, definitely. Please speak up.
Okay,
The microphone is up here.
Can you hear me better if I do this?
much better.
Okay.
You keep speaking down
Okay.
there. I think the microphone
Okay.
is that little hole right there.
Okay. I apologize about that.
Ms.
Talk to
Poteet,
that.
ask your next question, and you have to ask questions.
Well, I would like, okay, Your Honor, I'm sorry, but what if she is lying about the question?
You you have to prove that she's lying. So but you're just asking questions right now.
Rena, did you or did you not text me and tell me that you were going to attend a private investigation school to get your PI degree?
Yes, I said that.
Yes, you did. And then did you or did you not tell me that you were going to get a badge and be able to do background checks?
I did not say that.
Another lie. Did you or did you not tell me that you were allowed to call yourself an investigator as long as you said that you were not a private investigator?
I said that anybody can call themselves an investigator as long as they do not claim that they are a licensed investigator without a license.
Yes. Have you solicited, so you attended Penn Foster, I believe, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is that an accredited school in Texas to claim to be a licensed private investigator or to get your private investigator's license?
I believe it is, yes.
Okay. I don't know. It's public knowledge that it is not a licensed or accredited. As a matter of fact, I have many friends who are licensed private investigators who are very well aware of this. Rena, did you solicit services on social media providing private investigation services?
I did not.
Okay. Have you ever claimed to anyone that you were a detective with Dallas Police Department at one point in time, or that you worked in conjunction with the FBI?
I've never stated that.
I
Excuse
couldn't
me?
hear you.
I have never stated that.
Okay. Have you ever solicited services while being a part of Love and Justice of Humanity to individuals who had GoFundMe accounts regarding sick children?
I personally have not collected any money from anybody with my personal account for anybody that was sick or assaulted or abused. I have been a part of a community in my Muslim community where people reach out to me as an advocate to speak for them and behalf of them, because a lot of people know me in the community and they trust me. So when they reach out to me, I reach out for the community for help. I have never, ever collected any money which has ever gone to my personal account. If I share a link It is specifically a link that somebody else created for their own needs, whatever that may be at that time.
Rena, have you ever offered to show this lawsuit to anyone on social media?
I have only offered that the statements that you were making were incorrect and that we are seeking legal counsel. Those were to people who were directly affiliated with my children, who required for me to give back a statement.
Was this not a public defamatory comment that you made on your own personal page, which was public, that offered, where you defamed me, called me trash, and offered to show anyone the lawsuit who wanted to see it?
Your Honor, I'm going to object as to relevance. Anything that's filed in a lawsuit is privileged. I think she can answer the question about whether she called her white trash, but anything associated with the lawsuit is irrelevant to this because anything in it would be privileged. It wouldn't be defamatory.
Pardon me, but if that was the case, then why did you demand I tell you who I had shared lawsuit information with? I never publicly posted anything about a lawsuit.
I think we're getting a little confused here. We're getting a little confused here. So let's break down the question a little bit. So I think the question, the part of the question I think is clearly okay for you to answer is, did you ever on Facebook ever, I guess, call Miss Poteet trash or white trash or whatever?
I do not recall ever using such language.
Okay.
You know what? Your Honor, I think I'm done for now. I don't know if I have a chance to come back. My iPad is getting low, but Mrs. Zadie is committing perjury on the stand right now, and I have the proof to disclose all that. I was blindsided today. Like I said, I did not have information on this Zoom meeting, nor was I aware that this was happening today. It's I don't know what else to say, Your Honor. I mean, I can't ask anything else because everything I ask is not going to have a truthful answer.
Okay. Any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor. I call Shanna Poteet.
All right, Ms. Poteet, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, let's proceed.
Ms. Poteet, are you a director of Love and Justice for Humanity?
Yes, I am.
Are you a president of it?
Yes, I am.
Are you the individual who formed that entity using LegalZoom?
Yes, I am.
Is Plaintiff's Exhibit number 4 a true and correct copy of the certificate of formation that you filed through LegalZoom with the Texas Secretary of State?
I believe so.
What exhibit number?
Exhibit 4.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ma'am, is Love and Justice for Humanity a 501c3?
No, sir, it is not.
Were you intending to file an application to make it a 501c3?
Yes. Rena knew that as well. We were trying to raise funds because I had called LegalZoom asking why we were not a 501c when I believed I had filed for it. And they told me it cost $800 extra to do that. So we were trying to come up with funds to actually file for a 501c, and Rena was well aware of that.
And I'm going to object to the non-responsive part of this, of that answer.
Overruled. I think that answer was okay. Go on.
In Plaintiff's Exhibit number 7, the Articles of Incorporation and Bylaws for Love and Justice for Humanity, did you state that Love and Justice for Humanity was organized under Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code?
Where does that say that?
Okay, I'm trying to get,
Plaintiff's Exhibit 7.
these aren't hyperlinks, so.
Wish I knew how to do that, but you're getting very close.
Okay.
The next documents will be going through in order, so that will be easier. You're on the correct exhibit, I think, as you move to this one. It's going to be the first page of this.
Okay.
Yes, I know what you're speaking of. Yes, when we did that, we basically, Arena and I copied and pasted that together. We're guilty of anything. It's not being organized. But at the time when I filed with LegalZoom, I believed that I had filed for a 501c. And when I had called them months later to see about it, they said that I was not a 501c and that would cost $800 extra. I then I informed Rena of what had happened. And that's why we had talked about raising money for $800 to file for the 501c, which we never did. We never raised one penny under Love and Justice for Humanity. Not 1 cent.
Non-responsive.
Overruled.
At the time that Plaintiff's Exhibit 7 was prepared, did you use LegalZoom documents to prepare it?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
At the time that deposition exhibit or Plaintiff's Exhibit 7 was prepared, did you tell Rena Zadie that Love and Justice for Humanity was a 501c3 tax-exempt organization?
Yes, I did, sir. I believe I had filed for that.
Next exhibit is Plaintiff's Exhibit number 8, which is the letter that was sent to you by LegalZoom when you formed Love and Justice for Humanity, correct?
I need to look at it, please. I don't have any of these documents because Rena has them.
All of these documents were emailed to the same email address that you responded to the court to.
Is this the one you're talking about? Okay.
You received that letter from LegalZoom, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it actually says in the second paragraph of that letter, an organization must file its exemption application known as a 501c3 application within 27 months, correct?
Yes.
Plaintiff's Exhibit number 9, the next exhibit, is from the Office of the Secretary of State, and it's mentioned as being enclosed with the LegalZoom letter, correct? You received that, correct? You received that in around about March of 2018, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it also tells you that you need to file a 501c3, correct?
Yes, sir.
Exhibit 10 is the letter that you received from the Internal Revenue Service. Have you ever seen that letter before from the Internal Revenue Service?
Which I believe I have.
Exhibit 10, the one about the employer's identification number?
Is that when they emailed the employer? Yes, sir.
Yeah, they emailed you the number to use, correct?
Yes, they sent it with the packet.
And in the third paragraph of that, it reminds you that you need to file an application for 501c3, correct?
Yes.
When you received my letter dated February 14th of 2019, why didn't you just respond that it was not a 501c3?
I felt like I wanted to talk to a lawyer first, which I did talk to a couple. I do not have the means to hire an attorney. I believe I did respond to you. I sent you an email.
Now you did respond, but you didn't say it's not a 501c3, correct?
I guess I did not mention in there.
Now, we've talked a little bit in your questions and in your arguments about there being a GoFundMe account. Did you set up a GoFundMe account through which you raised money?
Yes, and that was agreed on by all members.
Plaintiff's Exhibit number 5 shows that $1,051 was raised for Love and Justice for Humanity, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you say that that money was not raised for the organization.
No, sir, that's not what I said. I said it was raised to form the organization. We were not an organization when we collected that money. We had not been formed. it was raised to pay for websites, stuff for events, and for the filing with LegalZoom. That is what that money was used for.
Did you set up that account with GoFundMe?
Yes, sir, I did.
Were those funds transferred into a personal account in your name?
Yes, sir, because we had not filed. We did not have a bank account for the organization.
In fact, has Love and Justice for Humanity ever had a bank account?
No, sir.
When Rena asked you about what happened with that money back in 2018, why didn't you tell her?
I believe I did, sir. She knew exactly where the money had went. And as a matter of fact, all the members knew where the money had went. I was very open with paying for the website and how much it cost to file through LegalZoom.
Who did you pay for the website?
Excuse me?
Who did you pay for the website?
The website was done under Wix.com.
Jay Mohan create that website?
He designed it, yes.
Did he charge you anything for that?
Jay Mohan, no, he did not.
When I sent you Plaintiff's Exhibit number 11, why didn't you provide the receipts showing these payments?
If you would like me to be completely honest, I felt like this was another bullying tactic from Marina because she has made threats very similar to this on other people in the past. And I also mentioned that I wanted to speak to a lawyer first before I responded to anything.
And here we are over a year later, you've talked to a lawyer, correct?
I've talked to a couple just regarding advice. I do not have funds to hire an attorney.
As we sit here today, have you produced any bank records or receipts of any kind showing what those monies were used for?
No, sir, I haven't.
You received the request for production from me, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you sent an email response, correct?
Yes.
And you said you didn't want to give me statements of the financial institution account into which those funds were deposited because you objected that it was a violation of your privacy, correct?
Yes, sir, I believe it is.
Did you form a nonprofit called Underground Hip Hop Academy?
Yes, many years ago.
Were you ever involved with a nonprofit called Gray
Greyhaven.
Haven?
That was actually a Facebook page I had created for my community to help locate runaways. I never filed any kind of corporation or 501c with that. And I've never told anyone that I did.
The Underground Hip Hop Academy, the only nonprofit corporation that you formed other than Love and Justice for Humanity?
Yes, sir, it is.
You are aware, as a nonprofit corporation in the state of Texas, you are required to file a financial statement at the end of every year, whether you raised any money, spent any money or not, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, I outlined that to you in my letter to you, correct?
Yes, sir.
I even told you where to go look for the law, correct?
Actually, no, sir, I don't remember you sending me that.
I think I cited section 22.352 of the Texas Business Organizations Code and section 22.353 on the second page of my letter to you, correct?
I do not have your letter in front of me, but I will take your word at it.
And you can't tell me what they said, but you've talked to attorneys about my letter, correct?
Yes, sir.
And still to this day, you haven't given any of those documents to anybody. You don't even have them with you today, correct?
No, sir, I don't. I was not aware of today.
Now, these statements that you made about Rena Zadie in 2018, you don't deny making them. You just say that you're being truthful, correct?
Yes, sir.
You say you actually did say that Miss Zadie has held herself out as being a private investigator, correct?
She has solicited service on her personal Facebook page, informing people that she was a private investigator. Yes.
And you've told people that, correct?
People actually, The only person that I have informed was a licensed private investigator who was a friend of mine. And I believe that she was reported to the licensing bureau for soliciting services. I did not report her, someone else did.
I'm not asking who reported her. You've told people that Rena Zadie has falsely held herself out as being a private investigator, haven't you?
Other people have come to me and asked me, and I have said, I've confirmed that, yes.
You've told Omar Siddiqui that, correct?
He was already well aware of that.
But you told him that, correct?
Yes, it's
You
the
told
truth.
Marisha Khan that, correct?
I have no idea who Risa Khan is. I've
You
never
told
heard
Liz
that name before.
Castaneda that, correct?
I have not talked to Liz Castaneda since 2016. I have never talked to that woman.
You tell other people that Rena Zadie has held herself out as working for the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
Actually, that was told to me.
Have you told other people that Rena Zadie has lied about her credentials to law enforcement?
Yes, I repeated the statements that she made in her meetings about being, which I did confirm with Irving Police Department. So that she's still lying about that.
And Your Honor, I'm objecting to all the hearsay she's saying. If we're going to hear from these witnesses, we're going to hear from these witnesses.
Overruled.
Did you object, or did you state to other people that Rena Zadie has been preying on families distraught over a missing loved one?
Yes, that was regarding the Mustafa case, and that was someone who had contacted me. People have contacted me for the things, what she's doing to me, the similar things that she's doing to them.
Objection to the hearsay.
Overruled.
Did you falsely assert that Rena Zadie has been threatening and harassing people for months?
Yes, I did say that, and that is true.
Did you ever have a meeting of the board of directors, any kind of formal meeting where you presented your evidence against Rena Zadie and she was given an opportunity to defend herself?
Jenny Kimpian and I spoke on the phone when I informed her of the text message that Rena had sent me, a threatening text message, which is why I blocked her, and also to inform Jenny of Rena's felon record. And Jenny agreed with me and also said that she would provide a written statement that she agreed that Rena didn't need to be on the board of Love and Justice anymore.
Where does Jenny live?
I believe she lives in Chicago. She is a flight attendant, and so she travels periodically.
Did you give Rena Zadie notice of that conference call?
No, I did not.
Did you give her an opportunity to appear with an attorney?
No, sir.
Was the quote threatening message the one that she sent you on December 31st of 2017?
Yes, the one after she had been missing for quite a few weeks. The last time I had seen her, I believe, was when we had that meeting with her friend Salman regarding raising money for 501c.
And that text message she wrote to you, and I'll quote, "Well, we need to do our taxes for the nonprofit, which was all messed up anyways, and all the money to file it was just wasted. And if we don't do it, we will get penalized. So whether you want to be a child about things and not speak, you need to adult up and let me know how you want to proceed with this. I will need a receipt for the filing you did and the expenses from the donations collected. We have a CPA who can do this, or you can find one yourself and do it if you like. Let me know today since we need to file soon." Do you consider that text message threatening?
Is that the entire text message?
Yes, that's the entire text message.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a second paragraph. "I'm sorry I've been out of the loop. We have had some crazy family stuff going on, and I've just been trying to deal with it. Adding Facebook depression just was too much for me to handle. I've had a death in the family too, and it's all just been so much to deal with. Just trying to heal and come back to normal emotionally and mentally. Anyways, let me know what's up about the filing. It doesn't matter if we didn't collect any money. We still have to file because of the EIN associated with us. If you don't want to talk to me, I can have a lawyer reach out just for mediation purposes because I don't want drama." Do you consider that threatening?
Yes, I do actually, because she had been missing for weeks. She gave me less than 1 day to respond to her text message. And I felt like her text message was very out of place and I felt like something did not seem right. So I asked a friend to run a background check on her, which is when I found out that she was a felon.
Now, she never had access to your personal bank account, correct?
No, why would she?
She wouldn't, right? And all the money that was raised on the GoFundMe went to your personal bank account, correct?
Yes, sir.
So there was no way Rena could have taken any money out of your bank account without you knowing, correct?
No, sir.
So she couldn't have absconded with any of those funds, correct?
No.
And yet, as we sit here today, we still don't, we're talking 3 years have passed. We still don't have any receipts for what you say you did with the money other than your words, correct?
You know what, Mr. Frick? If I will be more than happy to provide you receipts for everything. I don't know. I don't know if I can go back that far and get bank statements. I'm not going to provide you bank statements of my personal bank account, but I certainly can provide you with receipts to what this money was spent on. And this money was not collected money was collected before our organization was ever even formed.
I will pass the witness at this point.
All right. Do you have any additional testimony, Ms. Petit? You're under oath currently, so anything you say is subject to the penalty of perjury at this point, if you'd like to testify under oath.
Yes, sir, I do, but my phone or my iPad battery is going dead. And I do have quite a few things I would like to say additionally.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we reconvene? How about tomorrow morning?
That would be
Okay.
fine, Your Honor.
We'll reconvene, let's say 10 o'clock tomorrow.
We use the same Zoom link to get in tomorrow morning that we used today.
Yes, same Zoom link.
Are we excused?
Yeah, and Ms. Poteet, if there's any documents that you want to, this is your
Absolutely.
chance to get documents together if you want to get them together. So
Okay. I pardon for my ignorance, but how do I get those over to the court?
you'll
If
need to scan them in, email them to my court coordinator and to my court reporter.
Your
Okay.
Honor, I get copies of those as well, correct?
You need to send copy to Mr. Frick as well.
Okay.
And
I will do that tonight, Your
And you
Honor.
can kind of see the format of how this one way to do it. Mr. Frick did it. It's not the most formal way, but it's an acceptable way. And so you're able to send it in that same format. Make sure all of the exhibits are marked. So like Exhibit 1, Exhibit 2, Exhibit 3, Exhibit 4. You can scan them all as one document or as separate documents. I'll be glad to run it.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm sorry. I don't know how to include all of them in one document. I can scan them in as separate attachments in one email, but
That's
I'm not.
fine. Either way is fine.
Okay.
Your Honor, you did say 10 a.m.
10 a.m. tomorrow.
And for the record, Your Honor, I will be objecting to any documents that were not produced in discovery that were requested, of course, because
Of course, we'll
as
have
we
to
know,
see. We'll have to make that
we'll deal with that
determination
tomorrow.
tomorrow once we figure it out.
Thank you, Your
Okay,
Honor.
guys,
We
we'll see you
excuse.
tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And then Mr. Jones, are you there?
Thank you, Your
I'm
Honor.
here.
May I leave now?
You
Or
may leave. You need to be back tomorrow at 10. Ms. Poteet, I want to tell you, if you don't come back tomorrow at 10, then we'll continue the trial without you. So I just want to make sure you know that.
yes, sir. I will be here, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones, I'm going to need to take a 10-minute break. So we'll reconvene, Mr. Jones, Ms. West, and we'll start your trial, okay?
Okay.
All right.
A little longer than we expected.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah. Now I'm invested. Like, I know.
Hey, do you know a lady named Boutique up in Carrollton? Okay. Mr. Jones,
Yes, Your Honor.
are you back? Everyone back?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. West, you're welcome to turn on your video now that we're starting the trial.
Okay.
There we go. Tony, you ready? Let's go on the record on cause number DC 1915595. Counsel and Ms. West, make your appearances.
Stephen Jones for Synchrony Bank.
Lynn West, defendant.
All right, let's proceed.
Your Honor, this is a credit card case. Synchrony Bank sent a credit card. It's a Walmart card to Miss West. Some time ago, purchases and charges were made, payments were made, and then for whatever reason, they stopped, leaving a balance of $6,441.84. I emailed business records affidavit to the court coordinator earlier, basically outlining the charge-off statement, a statement with some purchases, or excuse me, I think a payment on it. I'm not sure if you are able to see that.
I can pull that up.
Or asking the court to accept that as plaintiff's exhibit number 1, Your Honor.
Okay, let me go ahead and share that. I want to make sure we have the right document.
Certainly.
Is that it?
It appears to be it, yes.
All right, so you're offering this as exhibit 1. Any objection, Ms. West, to exhibit 1?
It's just that I have not seen this before.
Did you not email this to her?
Your Honor, there was a do not contact designation on this particular account. Generally, that means you do not want us to reach out to them or contact them regarding any kind of a part of like the don't call for a debt collection. So I did not have the information, her contact information, to send it to her. And I did let the court coordinator know that when I sent it to the coordinator earlier.
Okay. Is that right, Ms. West?
That no contact was with the people from calling for customer service because they were getting to be harassment calls.
I don't know that that would apply in litigation, Mr. Jones. I mean, I agree with Ms. West that just because you have no contact doesn't mean that, you know, she's opposing. This doesn't seem like it's complete. Is this complete?
Should be 10 pages total.
Okay. Huh, okay. Was there any discovery in this case? Did she send you discovery?
No, Your Honor.
Did you send him any discovery, Ms. West?
No, I did not. I was not advised. I didn't know that I needed to. I did respond to the original summons or the information that I was not able to verify if that amount was true or not, because I had not received anything from Walmart stating that's what I owed to them.
Okay. So just a couple of things, Ms. West. So just so it's kind of clear, what discovery is it's an opportunity for either side to send requests to get more information. So if you had sent over a question asking for this document, you probably would have been able to get it, but you have to make the formal request. But it's not mandatory. You don't have to do it, but it just gives you more information about what their allegations are against you. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Well, has the document been admitted into evidence or not, Your Honor?
Admitted, Exhibit 1 is admitted.
Okay. Your Honor, based on the information within the business records affidavit, we believe that there is sufficient evidence to prove that there was a Walmart card opened up in Miss West's name. She used it, stopped making the payments, thereby breaching the contract and leaving the damages that we have claimed in our original petition. And we are asking the court to grant judgment today in plaintiff's favor based on this evidence.
All right. Response?
Response to that is that I did agree that I did receive the credit card. And the reason I stopped making payments, as he stated before, that I was making payments, I was laid off from my job and I did not have money to continue making the payments. I did state to the representatives when they called that I was working on getting the money or paying them, and that I would give them a time frame that I was able to make a payment. And then, as I said, it became harassment because I would tell them on Monday, I will pay you the amount that you're asking, but I can pay it on this day. And then by Wednesday, I would get another phone call. On Friday, I would get another phone call. And so it was getting to a point where it was harassing me. I was attempting to make the payments on the credit card because I know that I made those charges. So that was the reason why I asked for them not to contact me any further. And I offered to continue to make payments, but at that point, I was not able to get in contact with them, or they no longer wanted to accept my payments.
Mr. Jones, have you guys tried to work something out?
No,
Well, Your Honor, we have not been able to because we cannot contact the defendant. I understand your comment earlier about the difference between collections and litigation. Unfortunately for me, since I work for the Zwicker and Associates, it's all one unitary system. So whatever the collections puts on the file, the same thing is shown to litigation. So we can't, I mean, I have no way of knowing what her phone number is, her email. I have literally no contact information for this particular defendant or anybody who puts a do not contact designation on the file. I mean, if she
Ms.
has
West, one option I could do is I could send you to a separate room here on Zoom, and you could have a chance to talk to Mr. Jones to try to work something out, maybe a payment plan or something like that. How would you feel about that, Ms. West?
that would be fine. I mean, I actually tried to contact them earlier to see about doing that, but every time I called the number, I would be rolled over to the collections department. So I was trying to see if we could get a continuance or if we can work out some type of arrangement, but I was not able to get through.
What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put you and Mr. Jones into a separate room. I'm going to send one of my interns there so that they can contact me.
Okay.
Mr. Hamilton, I'm going to go ahead and send you over to the room. You guys try to work it out. And once it's over, Mr. Hamilton, you have my cell phone number, right?
No, Judge, I do not.
Oh, you don't have my cell phone? I thought you did.
No, I just have your Facebook.
Oh, never mind. Trying to think. I thought everyone did. let's see. Who has I usually give that out to everyone. All right, Mr. Clardy, I know you have my cell phone. I'm gonna go ahead and send you, and you're gonna go, can you go ahead and text me? Okay. I may send a group of you over just so you can kind of watch.
I'd like to be included in that group, Your Honor.
Okay. No, don't try to interfere. Just listen. No, I'm not directing it to you, just to anybody. Okay, a number of you should be getting invitations. Go ahead and go to the breakout room. Miss Malloy, I think you got an invitation too. There you go. Okay, let me chat with you guys. Where's is Miss Hatcher still here? Okay.
Yes.
I'm still here.
Okay, I just couldn't see you on my screen.
Yes, sorry,
Okay.
I'm listening.
Well, I have some good news for you. So we submitted your memos over to the law firm, and you guys are the 3 finalists. So congratulations. They told me who the winner is, but I won't tell you guys. I think it'd be more fun to wait. And I don't know how they're going to do it exactly, but they did give me the winner's name. But all 3 of you did a great job. Congratulations. SMU represent. And I don't know how they're going to do this exactly. They may decide to hire just one of you or hire all of you. And Audrey, I guess my question to you is, are you interested in working at a civil firm in the spring? You said you were before, but now it's coming a little more real.
No, I am interested. I mainly in the sense of like, also you can't see my face, so I apologize. But in the sense of getting more experience
Is it
in
a
other
happy
fields.
face, a sad face?
It is a
concerned
happy
face?
face. Here, I
Okay.
can try to get my video on, but I don't look
Megan's
great right
face
now.
isn't very happy, neither is Jason. So you would think that they would be
All right.
really excited, but
No, it's a happy face. I'm just,
This is
we're in the middle of boxes, so.
When you said it, I smiled very big.
okay. Big smiles, big smiles. Yeah, this is exciting, guys. This is,
Wait.
out of 12 of you guys, you 3 made it, and you didn't, you were very I thought these were 3 of the best memos too. And you guys all did a fantastic job. You should feel really good about this, because this was probably the most, I think I mentioned before, maybe I didn't, the 10 of the 12 were very good, which I've never had that high a percentage before. I thought you guys, all 3 did a fantastic job. And it's interesting because, everybody who looks at these things looks at them differently. So it's interesting how they ended up choosing this, but I think it's great that you guys got this. And are you wearing a pearl necklace, or what are you wearing, Audrey?
Me? No, it's my headphones.
Your
I've
headphones.
been listening to court while trying to like move my furniture and stuff, which is why I haven't had my camera on. So
You don't wear
It's been
pearl necklaces when you move on? I don't get it.
sadly, no, not this time. I had to keep that away. Maybe next move.
But anyway, so this is really good news. I would research the firm. It's going to be, I think, Andy Summerman and Alex Reisinger are going to both be there. The meeting is Thursday. I don't know if you have this on your calendar, but the meeting is Thursday at 10. Let's see. Let me just make sure I have that right. Yeah, it's Thursday at 10. And did I send you a Zoom link yet? I guess I haven't because I didn't know who the finals were going to be. So I'll send you a Zoom link. Andy is incredibly charming and funny and very easy to get along with. Alex is very, very nice, very intense, but very nice. And this is a great law firm. Again, my concern is obviously that they don't usually give offers to first-year lawyers, but they do it sometimes, but it's rare, kind of based on need and who they really, really, really like. But it's still a great place to work. And I don't know if this would go into next summer or not. I don't know that that's kind of worked out yet. But this is a great honor, something I'd definitely include on your resume. And again, of course, one of the main questions I had for you guys was, do you want me to announce? I kind of feel like I should announce this to everyone, but I wanted to get y'all's thought about this.
I don't care.
I think you should, Judge. I mean, they're
I mean,
gonna have to get
I'm
used.
fine with it.
They're gonna have to get used to disappointment eventually. You know, we're all gonna be lawyers.
I think that having 2 people from team 3 should be a little Jeopardy point boost. But
I will say, Judge, in this half of the internship, 5 interns were recommended to you by Blake that are all part of this internship, and all 5 of us were the semifinalists.
Are you serious? Is that right?
I don't like to know that.
That is
Let's
true.
not tell Blake.
Now that you say that,
Megan,
that's a correct
Audrey,
statement.
Sydney, Megan, Audrey,
And
Sydney, Joey, and me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Nope, that is all of us that were there.
And we all interviewed at the same time together.
Yep.
Really?
The same day with Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And Joe actually interviewed twice.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I do remember that because that was the day that Blake brought us up there, and we were entirely sure what was going on that day.
Mm-hmm.
Did he not make it clear you were coming in for an interview, or?
No.
He said that you might potentially interview us, but probably not. So
I do remember that because I do remember being a little bit more frazzled than I am on a typical day.
Right. Well, I hope that you're happy that it all worked out. I hope that you've had a good experience. And
no, it's been very great. I've enjoyed it a lot.
It's been good. Wait, so when will we know, even though you know and you just won't tell us?
I guess they'll tell you. I mean, I can tell you if you all 3 agree, but otherwise, I kind of think it'd be better to let them tell you, because
I just didn't know. So it's on Thursday?
Thursday at 10.
Okay.
And the internship is for the spring, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay.
I think you could do it in the fall, but I think their thought was the spring.
Okay. The reason I ask is there's an externship opportunity with a federal judge opened up for the fall. And he has I have a connection to him.
Who is it?
It's Judge Mansky.
Oh, down in Waco?
Yes. And he's really big with the veteran community and as a veteran. So I have that connection. So hopefully, I'm hoping that might work out, but I don't want to submit my application if this ends up being in the fall, the internship.
I had an intern. Did you meet my intern, Maddie Hayes? She actually clerked for him for a year, 2 years.
The name doesn't sound familiar. Actually, the name sounds a little familiar. So maybe.
I want to see if she can get on. I don't know if I can send it to her. Let me see if she.
Also, Judge, we're supposed to be in the courthouse on Thursday. So are we just gonna do Zoom there, I guess?
Yeah, I would do Zoom there. We might do it all together if there's a problem with the hotspot. Jason, why don't you come in? Why don't we change this around a little bit? And Jason, why don't you come in on Thursday too? You've already come in once, but
yes, Judge.
I think the best way to do this is to have I think it would be super weird to not, you know what I mean, to have you guys there with somebody who didn't win. I just think it would be weird. So I think we'll just have, if it's okay with y'all, have, oh shoot, I'm still live.